Okay, we're going to put the flywheels in the turn stand here. First thing I do is make sure your indicators are out of the way. I reset the width here for the big twin crank. Let me go ahead and bring over the flywheel here. Slip it in there, and I didn't go big enough, see we're hitting over here. This is a real late model crank. Forget about the extra ½ inch over here on this side. So this one here, we gotta loosen this up. Now this truing stand is a copy of an old railroad truing stand. It's actually made by CCI. Bought this thing back in the 90s, so they probably don't make them anymore. Okay. Of course, I bought lots of extra parts when I bought it. I got tapers, extra tapers and stuff, so when I run out, when I ever break anything, I'll have parts. So far I haven't broken anything, I just recut them. Okay. What you do is you crank it in with the wheel over here until you hit, and you back off just enough for clearance. Then you got to make sure your indicators clear your nut right here. If they hit the nut, they bounce. Okay, now we see how bad it is. So you're watching two fingers, this one here and the one on the other side. Blow that in a little bit closer, you can see maybe. Yeah, too far in. Yep, that's way too far in. There you go, should be able to see what's going on. Now everything references off of the crank pin. That's where you come from, so you either get twisting like this or like this, you're spreading it. And each thing does different things. Now this one here, if you hit it too hard, this pinion shaft will bend on you. And actually what I forgot to do, because I'm thinking it's a real Harley, not a modern piece of crap, I need to put the parts over here to tighten this up, because when you tighten this nut up, it changes the trueness of the crank. It usually changes it quite a bit. So you actually have to put the bearings on here and all of this stuff before you do this part, which I forgot to do. So we can take it all back apart and go get the other parts. What fun. So we can go back over to the other table over there, grab the camera, take a little walk. Nothing like walking around with a 40-pound flywheel in here, huh? Okay, so here is the pieces here. Stupid tripods, pain in the ass to deal with. So what we got is, we know we got our two bearings right here. Let's get this blown back a little bit. Here's our inner oil pump drive gear. Here's our outer cam gear. And here's our nut that tightens it all down. And then we got the T key. The reason they call it a T key because it looks like a T. That's what drives everything. Now the first thing you want to do with this thing is you want to liberally lubricate it with sleeve retainer Loctite. The first thing I put the bearing on it. That requires a little bit of oil. Oh yeah, I forgot, he doesn't have a snap ring here for this motor yet. Put a little bit of oil in the bearings there. Okay. Let's see if they gave us any extra parts here. For the new cases, they did not give us a new snap ring. And we don't have an old one, so we have to go get one. So we'll be back in a second. Alright. Little thrust washers. snap rings. This would be a heavy duty snap rings. So here's your different snap rings. You got V-twin ones, which are real thin, which are probably early ones, but that's not usually how they're made, so I think they're just made wrong. The early ones are spiral style. This here's your S&S clip here, which is that number there. And then this one here is brand X, which is some big thick black ones. And they're actually look like they're a little bit thicker than the S&S ones, so we'll go with those. More holding power is good power. Now when you're using the later style bearings like we got here, they have no thrust wash, they only have the snap ring to rub against. That's why it's a thicker cross section and stronger. The earlier ones, they have two thrust washers, one on the inside, one on the outside, and they got a spiral lock that holds it on because the thrust washer takes the load, not the snap ring. Harley got cheap, they eliminated this and went to a non-cage bearing, one-piece bearing instead of separate cages like the earlier bike. And they took away rollers just like they did on the rod. Once again, they got cheaper. Okay, now I can't put this on right now because I need to be able to put the indicator on the crank, so I just put that over there loosely. Then we take our sleeve retainer and we liberally lubricate all of this because we want this thing to be nice and snug when this goes on. We want to rotate this as it goes on, take up any slack. Let's put the key in there first. Key appears to be a little tight. Lightly tap it. If that doesn't work, you get a pair of channel locks or a pair of vice grips to squeeze it. Where's our keyway at? So it appears this one does not want to go in where it's supposed to. There it goes. Okay, I'll get a socket or something to beat this on with further. Try knocking that on first. There it goes. Okay. Now we put more Loctite on this thing. So you want lots of Loctite. So this one holds on better, a little tighter. Lightly tap it on all the way. Right there. Okay, that's on there good. Now you should put a little bit of red Loctite on the end of the nut here. Make sure the nut doesn't come loose. That would be a bad thing for your cams. I need to get a socket for this. Okay, put that on. And then we tighten this up with the zip gun. You gotta know your tools. This tool will put out 175 foot-pounds in here, some rams, not one of those Harbor Freight $29.99 ones that puts out 15.5 foot-pounds when it claims 40 or 50. So that one's tight. But you have to know your tools so you know how much the torque does. Comes from experience. And if you want to know what size socket that was, it's a 15/16. Okay, now we got that tight. And we can still slide the bearings off to the side and hit the indicator there in the flywheel. Alright, I'm going to go back over the side, so let me reset up. We'll be back in a minute.